Hey guys, thanks for watching 205 Outdoors and listening to 205 Outdoors podcast. So today is Tuesday, September the 3rd. Got to work tonight, so I'm just going to be out here for a little bit. But, I came yesterday and I may include some of the video, but I've been using the GoPro to film all of my scouting trips and stuff. And I've noticed it's just really limited with zoom function. So you really can't zoom a lot. You can do what's called, I guess, digital zoom. So when you're editing, you can try to like blow the image up, but it takes away quality and everything else. So yesterday I went out there and I actually saw the bachelor group of bucks. They were probably, I'm gonna guess, 250, 300 yards, somewhere in that ballpark. And I've been waiting on this camcorder to come in, so I now have it. So this is the Panasonic HD with I think it's V785 HD. Anyway, it's got an optical zoom, 20x optical zoom on it. So hopefully we'll be able to see those deer in the clear cut. I'm going to try it today and just see if we can get some good footage of these deer. Yeah, if nothing else, I'm sure we'll see some does. So hopefully we'll get some good video quality on it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching and see you in just a few. Okay, guys, so the camcorder mic wasn't the best, so I'm going to do a voiceover on this, and I have a new mic for it now that should work better outdoors. But the first deer I came up on was this little spike, and he probably fed for, I don't know, I watched him for a good while, and he was feeding right to me with the wind, blowing right in his face, so I don't know how. I really don't know how he didn't, smell me. I guess he's just a young deer. But as I'm watching him, I catch these the three bucks just kind of running across the clear cut from my right to left. And this was the only one that I really could get good video on. It's actually three 8-points. This one right here, I don't know that he's necessarily a shooter. It's hard to tell when they're in velvet, but I'm labeling him as a 3.5-year-old deer. He may be older. I'll get some more advice on that. But, getting to watch this buck, I probably watched him for, 15 or 20 minutes. And it's actually, like I said, it's three of them. I could not get the camera on the other two. There's one of them that I believe is a 4.5-year-old, and I could not get a good pic of him. I think I've got one on here that we'll see in just a few minutes or just a few seconds that it was a brief shot of him. And the rest of them they weren't that great. But just watch these deer, kind of make their way through. And I think that buck we just saw, that was actually a different one. That's one of the, that's the smaller, maybe it is the same buck. I think there was one of them I believe was a 2.5-year-old. I think we had a 2.5-year-old, a 3.5-year-old, and a 4.5-year-old that was out there today. I got pictures, or I got video of the 2.5 and the 3.5, but I don't think I got a really good, anything really substantial on the 4.5-year-old. So just kind of watched this buck, or these bucks, make their way up the clear cut, and was trying to zoom in on them. They're probably, like I said, 150, 200 yards away. Still pretty fun to watch, though. It's getting me fired up for deer season just seeing it. So right here is, I think, the only thing I've got of this. I believe that's the 4.5-year-old. So I decided after they crossed, I thought they were going to cross this road, and I thought they had already made their way across. And I'm standing there, and this thing, I cannot believe this deer didn't see me. The 4.5-year-old crossed before I could get my camera up. That's the 3.5, and then here's the 2.5-year-old. So they jumped the road, and I think that they're gone. And I decided to ease down a little bit further and have a stare down with this guy right here for probably a few minutes. And anyway, it was just a cool experience. I mean, keep in mind, I'm probably 20 yards away from this deer, like super close. And yeah, he's just not spooking, which is really cool to me. I don't know. I had a blast out there. All right, guys. So like I said earlier, I've got to work tonight, so I'm not going to be able to stay here very long today. Hopefully the video quality came through on this. A lot of times I was facing into the sun, but I did have a doe really close. I saw the bachelor group of bucks again. There's one. I think one of them's a shooter. And so I saw them initially. They came out of a draw. They kind of went across the clear cut, and I was trying to get them on camcorder. Hopefully I think I got some decent footage of at least one or two of them. The third one I didn't I didn't get video of, and unfortunately, I think we'll talk about it in just a second. He got past me. So I watched them feed through that clear cut, and I thought that they had already, there was another deer. The wind kept shifting, so one of the does, I think, kind of busted me in the clear cut, and she took off. So I didn't see those bucks anymore. And so my assumption was that they had crossed our gas line, and that they'd already crossed the road way down below me, 300 or 400 yards below me. So I just kind of slipped up to see if I could see them in that other draw where I saw them a couple of weeks ago, and I was going to try to get some video footage. As I'm walking, the shooter steps right out in front of me at, I don't know, 50 yards, and I'm trying to get my camcorder up to get a image of him. And by the time it wasn't even turned on. So by the time I got it turned on, he'd already stepped across the road. Fortunately, I don't know how. I wish this worked this way during deer season, but during scouting season, this works really well, where the wind's at my back and there's a trophy buck standing there, and he doesn't smell me. I don't know how this happens. So, for whatever reason, he looked right and I was on his left. So he looked to his right, which was going to be his direction of travel. He didn't look left, which is where I was standing. I think he was trusting that wind current that was blowing right to him, and for whatever reason, he didn't smell me. Thank God. Oh, I made a start. Y'all see I'm in shorts, and I had on a pair of snake boots, but I'm pretty much in shorts and just a thin shirt. So maybe I'm going to start hunting with this. Anyway, so I finally get my camcorder out and get it to start recording, and about that time, one of the smaller bucks steps out. He didn't see me. He just felt comfortable. And then the third buck stepped out. I can't remember if the second or the third. There was two. I think there was 2 8 points within this, but the front deer, the one I did not get on camera, unfortunately, I think he's a 4.5-year-old buck. I think he's got a bigger. He looks more mature. He's a lot larger. Surprised he stepped out first like that, but I guess I can go in whatever order they choose to. So the other 2 deer were definitely not shooters. They were smaller, but I'm guessing 40, 50 yards. I mean, it wasn't. They were within bow range, easily within bow range. The last one kind of looked at me while I was filming, and I was trying to get my zoom function. Again, I just got this yesterday, so I'm really learning how to use it still. And also, I don't know what the audio quality on this is terrible. I think it's just universal with these newer camcorders that the internal microphones they're just not really great, especially on the outside. So I do have an external mic that's supposed to be here today, and you'll probably see more of the YouTube channel go to this, hopefully. I think it's got a pretty good recording quality, as long as the audio and everything's okay. And we'll use the GoPro. I'll just probably keep it on me for just raw footage. But anyway, so those deer were there, and so I walked after they crossed. I thought that last one might have saw me because he just kind of scurried on. And I thought, okay, they're going to go to that draw. I'm just going to ease up and see if I can catch them, getting into the tree line. And I look up, and there's a deer standing. I mean, one of the bucks. He's not a shooter, but I think he was either a 4 or 6 pointer. He may have been a little 8. But he's staring at me, and I've got video of him. I mean, we're 20 yards away from each other. He doesn't know I see him. And so I suspect that that's what a lot of these bucks do, because he didn't blow. I suspect that a lot of times when you're walking down these roads, if you're not paying attention, I suspect you're walking right past bucks. Now these does, every one of these does that saw me, even the ones that saw me from a hillside 300 plus yards away, I would see them take off running, and they ran all the way to the tree line. They got out of there. Way more spooked. The bucks tend to squat. It almost seems like, unless they know that they have no cover and they're busted, and they see you see them. But if you're just casually walking by, I guarantee you're walking past bucks on your property. I guarantee it. I've heard people say it for years. That was definitely proof. That deer let me go right by. We stared at each other for a few minutes. He never moved. I just kind of, and there was some grass sort of in between, so we weren't just standing there staring directly at each other. I've got a silhouette of his antlers. He's looking right at me, and I'm kind of filming, looking at him, and I sort of duck down below the weeds and just sort of shift behind some more brush, and I kind of get out of there. And that's when he exited. And again, I didn't hear these deer crashing and running off. They slipped out quietly, and I never saw them again. I really didn't want to be able to look for them. I didn't mean to get that close to them. What I was trying to do was get behind them a couple of 100 yards and film them walking, and I had no idea I was that close. So that was, me putting unnecessary pressure on bucks, and I didn't mean to do that. That was a mistake on my part for sure. Going forward, I will probably definitely need to get a tripod out here. I've got one at the house, but trying to film these long distances with this zoomed in, and the zoom function is not bad. It's not, it's not the best thing in the world. It's not as good as your binos, obviously, and I'm sure there's some higher quality, higher end cameras that have way more zoom capability and more clarity when they zoom, but this is fine for me. I'll film a bunch of hunts with this year. I'm excited about it. It's well within my budget. $400 or $500 camera. I mean, it's not very expensive compared to what cameras cost. So anyway, all right, I think that'll do it for today. But anyway, thanks for watching 205 Outdoors, and don't forget to like and subscribe.